Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles Draw 1. Joanne, Courtney and Darren Moulding facing defending champions Jocelyn, Peterman and Brent Gallant. There was no tournament last year because of COVID-19, and along with winning in 2019, Peterman and Gallant also won in 2016. Opening end, and Gallant with a beauty double takeout, and they would go on to score a couple in the end to take the early lead. After a steal in the second end, Peterman's final rock without hammer, and look at this wonderful draw to sit shot rock. That helped lead to another steal of one, and the Peterman Gallant ring go on top, 4-zip. 6 end we go, Moulding, fresh off a Briar win on the Bottcher rink. Trailing 5-1, trying the double to sit 3, and Moulding makes it. Helped lead to a 3 in the end as they utilized the power play and got the 3 points as Courtney and Moulding back in it, down 5-4. To the 7th, Peterman, her final rock with hammer, trying to run back in their own, facing a couple, and look at that as it settles down on the button for the single point. It's 6-4 for the Peterman Gallant team, going to the final end. So to the 8th and final end, 3 rocks left for the Courtney and Moulding team with hammer. Moulding trying the double takeout, and he makes another beauty as the Courtney Moulding rink sitting a couple. Now to Peterman's last without hammer. Facing 3, needs to be at least third shot, but that is a miss as Courtney and Moulding come all the way back to defeat Peterman and Gallant. 7-6 is the final.
Darren Moulding, Joanne, Courtney,
Draw 2, Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Val Sweeting, who plays on the Kerri Einarson rink, back-to-back Scotties champion. She's playing with Marc Kennedy, and they're taking on Brendan Bottcher, fresh off his Briar win, and his fiancé, Bobbie Sauder. First end, Kennedy's last rock of the end, and they have hammer. Makes the nice little short angle raise tap. That is a beauty, and now they are sitting 4, looking for a big score in the opening end. So now let's go ahead to Sweeting with hammer. Looking at the double raise angle takeout. Sweeting makes that, and they open the scoring with a big 4-ender. It's 4-zip after 1. To the third end, 4-1 game. Sweeting with hammer. Looking at another big ender. Gets both yellows to go, and that is another 4 spot for the Sweeting and Kennedy rink. They lead 8-1 after 3 ends. To the fourth end, Sauder needs a draw to the full 4-foot for a single point with hammer, and that is great touch, but it just wasn't enough as the Sweeting and Kennedy rink roll to victory. They take this one 10-3, the final. Draw 3, Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Lisa Weagle and John Epping taking on Dezaray, Hawes and Tyler Tardi. Pick it up in the third end, tied at 1. Tardi's last rock of the end, playing without hammer, makes the raise tap. Their sitting shot rock. That was a stolen point in the end. Hawes and Tardi duo take a 2-1 lead. To the fourth end, Epping's second rock of his 3 in the end with hammer, makes the nice tap, helped lead to a 2 in the end, and at the break it is 3-2 for Weagle and Epping. To the fifth, and a mistake, as Tardi with his second rock of the end knocks the yellow into the 4-foot and biting the button. It ended up being a steal of 2 for the Weagle and Epping team as they take a 5-2 lead. So now to the 6th end we go. Hawes with hammer, drawing against a couple, and that is perfect as Hawes and Tardi cut into the lead. They trail 5-3 with a couple ends to go. To the 7th now, Weagle with hammer, a draw opportunity for a couple and to take a 4-point lead. That's a good shot and a good scrub by Epping as it gets there. 7-3 for the Weagle and Epping duo. They go on to take it 7-4, the final. Draw 6 at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Bobbie Sauder and Brendan Bottcher taking on Shannon, Birchard and Catlin Schneider. Opening end, Birchard with hammer, facing a couple, eyeing the angle slash, and that is so good from the 3-time Scotties champ as they get the single point. It's 1-zip. Next end, Bottcher's last rock playing with hammer, and look at that beauty run back. Gets both reds to go. Sauder and Bottcher would get a point in the end. They tie it at 1 apiece. Next end we go, Birchard and Schneider. A chance for a big end. Birchard facing one with hammer.
Just by the guard. How's the angle? 1, 2. My goodness, she is red hot this morning. How about 5?
Wow.
Just a brilliant shot for 5 points. Schneider and Birchard coming in 1-0 on the event. Go on top, 6-1. To the fourth end, Sauder with hammer, a chance to get a couple back. The little tap facing one, but that doesn't come over enough and sails right through, a steal of 1. And the Birchard and Schneider combo go on to take this one, 8-2, the final. Draw 7 at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles, and what a showdown. Kerri Einarson and Brad Gushue taking on Jennifer Jones and Brent Laing. 14 combined Scotties and Brier titles between the 4. First end, Einarson with hammer, facing a couple. And this is a pretty good one, able to tap that red back enough to only give up a steal of 1 in the end. It is 1-0 for the Jones-Laing team after an end. To the fourth end we go. Now a 2-1 game for Jones and Laing. Gushue, his final rock of the end, trying the double, but that is a miss and knocks out both of their own yellows instead, and that reaction says it all from the 3-time Brier champ. So now, after Einarson came up light on her draw, Jones with hammer could get as many as 6 in the end, trying the split, can't make it, but with the tap and the backing, it is good for 5, and Jones and Laing lead 7-1 at the break. To the fifth end, Laing second of 3 rocks in the end, and he makes the double takeout. That helped limit the damage. Einarson and Gushue got a pair, but it is 7-3 for the Jones-Laing combo. To the seventh end we go. Now a 7-4 game. Jones with hammer, trying the run back and score 3 points, and that is a beauty by the skipper as Jones and Laing go on to take it 10-4, the final over Einarson and Gushue. Draw 8 at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. The 2018 Olympic gold medalists in mixed doubles, Kaitlyn Lawes and John Morris, going against each other. Morris playing with Danielle Schmiemann, while Lawes playing with nephew Connor Lawes. Opening end, Kaitlyn Lawes without hammer, eyeing the triple and to force in the end. And that is a wonderful shot by Lawes that forced Schmiemann and Morris in the end. It's 1-0. To the third end, Schmiemann and Morris down 2-1, but a chance for a couple. Needs a hit and stick, but the shooter rolls away. They settle for a single, and it's all tied at 2 after 3 ends. Fourth end we go. The Lawes duo in some trouble. Kaitlyn going for the slash to only give up a steal of 1, but that rock flashes, and it's a steal of 2. So it's 4-2 for Schmiemann and Morris at the break. Fifth end, Lawes with hammer, trying to draw to a big chunk of the button for 2 and to tie it up. That is close, but doesn't get there. They settle for 1, and it's 4-3. Seventh end we go, 5-3 game. Morris's second of 3 rocks in the end. Makes the wonderful hit and roll. That helped force in the end. Schmiemann and Morris took a 5-4 lead going to the 8th. So final end we go. Schmiemann and Morris utilizing the power play. So it's a draw to the 4-foot for the win. Comes in a bit heavy, and that goes too far. The Lawes duo steals a single, and we need an extra end. Ninth end, after a miss. Morris's last rock of the end, they are playing with hammer. Makes the draw, and it stays above the tee line, and they are sitting 3. So after talking about it, time clock winding down, and Lawes just gets the rock off, needs to be shot stone, but it does not, as Schmiemann and Morris take it in an extra end. Draw 11 at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Kadriana Sahaidak and Colton Lott. They are a career 19-3 in the Mixed Doubles Nationals, facing 2-time champions Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant. Opening end, Peterman with hammer, facing 3 with her last, looking for the hit and roll for the single, and that is really nice as it just gets enough roll for the 1 point. Peterman and Gallant open the scoring. Third end, tied at 1. Gallant's final rock of the end. Team is with hammer, looking at the double, and that is a great shot by Gallant. They're sitting 2, and after a miss, Peterman made the draw for 3. They go on top 4-1, and this is the first 3-ender given up by Sahaidak and Lott in the last 13 mixed doubles pool play games. 5th end, now a 5-1 game. Sahaidak has a draw opportunity for 2, and to get them back in it, needs a big chunk of the forefoot, but that doesn't get past their own. They settle for a single, and they trail 5-2. To the 6th end, Peterman with hammer, a chance for a couple, and this is nice. The little tap, and that scores the pair once the rocks settle. Peterman and Gallant go on top 7-2, and they go on to take it 7-3, the final. Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles Draw 12. Selena Negavan and Reed Carruthers facing Laura Walker and Kirk Myers. 1st end, Walker with hammer, facing a couple, going with the run back, and that is pretty good despite giving up a steal of 1. It limits the damage. It's 1-zip for the Negavan and Carruthers rink. To the 3rd end, tied at 1. Chance for a big score for Negavan and Carruthers. Negavan has a hit and stick around for 4 points, and that is money. A huge 4-ender for the Negavan and Carruthers team. It's 5-1 after 3 ends. Next end, Walker and Myers come right back after wrapping a couple draws around the corner guard while utilizing the power play. A draw to the full 12-foot for 4, and Walker makes it. The teams trade 4s, and at the break, it's a 5-5 game. 6th end, Negavan and Carruthers down 6-5, using the power play. A chance to draw for 2 and to take the lead. Just got to touch the forefoot, and that is perfect as the Negavan and Carruthers duo go on top 7-6. 7th end we go. Walker with hammer, facing a couple, trying the raise tap for the single point.
Watch it make its move. Got to get by the red, and they just do. Angle it back, tap it. My goodness, pistol for 1 from Laura Walker.
That evens this game up at 7 apiece. Coming home. Final end, Walker without hammer, her last. And look at this draw. Touches the top of the button, and they are sitting 3. So now, Negavan needs to draw to the side of the button for the win. That comes in a little bit heavy and doesn't stop in time. Walker and Myers go on to take it. 9-7 is the final, and the 2018 Canadian Mixed Doubles champs are now 2-0. Draw 16 at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles, and a battle of 3-0 teams. Jennifer Jones, Brent Laing taking on Laurie St. George and Felix Asselin. Most teams go with the woman throwing the first and last rocks. This Quebec pair going with the man throwing first and last. 1st end, Asselin, a chance for a couple, a little tap on their own, and that is money. St. George and Asselin open the scoring. It's 2-zip. To the 3rd end, now a 2-1 game. Asselin with hammer trying to tap in their own for shot rock, but this is not good at all as he hits the red, which knocks back the yellow. When they all settle, it ends up being a steal of 2. 3-2 for the Jones and Laing combo. 5th end, St. George and Asselin now down 4-2. Asselin with hammer trying to run back some of the granite and score a single. That's a pretty good effort, but the red jams, and that is a steal of 1. It is 5-2 for Jones and Laing. Next end, and the Quebec pair switching it up. St. George throwing first and last rocks now. A chance for a couple and to get back in it. Needing a few tap backs and get their yellow in for second shot. That is all over the guard, and they settle for a single. It's 5-3. To the 7th end, Jones with hammer, trying to just tap that yellow back and score the 2 points. And that is great touch by the 6-time Scotties champ. It is 7-3 for Jones and Laing coming home. Final end, the St. George and Asselin combo have a couple in the rings. Laing with his second of 3 rocks in the end, and he puts it away with the double takeout. Runs the Quebec pair out of rocks. Jones and Laing take this one, and they improve to 4-0 at the Canadian Mixed Doubles. Draw 17 at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Val Sweeting, Marc Kennedy coming in at 3-0, taking on 2-1 Emma Miskew and Ryan Fry. 1st end, Sweeting with hammer, drawing for a couple, already sitting 1. Kennedy, great on the brush, gets the rub off the yellow and rolls in for the couple of points. They take the early lead. It's 2-zip.
2 red. Will be
Third end we go. Now a 2-1 game. Miskiw without hammer. Makes the great draw to sit shot rock. That ended up being the stolen point in the end, and it's all tied at 2 after 3 ends. To the fourth, Kennedy's second of 3 rocks in the end. They have the hammer, going with the run back, trying to get the granite moving. That is not good, as after the stones settle, it's Miskiw and Fry sitting 2. Sweeting would flash on her last with hammer, and it was a steal at 2 in the end. It's 4-2 at the break. To the sixth, 4-3 game. Fry's second of 3 rocks in the end. They have hammer, makes the hit and roll. They are sitting 3, and that is what they ended up scoring in the end. It's 7-3 for Miskiw and Fry. To the seventh, Sweeting and Kennedy utilizing the power play. After a miss by Miskiw on her last, Sweeting with hammer, a chance for 4 points.
Must make for Val Sweeting. It is perfect. 4.
They needed it, and they got it, so it's all tied at 7 coming home. Final end, Miskiw with hammer. Just needs to get rid of that red rock, touching the back button for the win. And it just gets enough of it and removes it. Miskiw and Fry win the game. 9-7 is the final. Both of these teams are now 3-1 at the Canadian Mixed Doubles. Draw 18, Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. 2-1, Lisa Weagle and John Epping taking on 3-1, Mackenzie Mitchell and Greg Smith. Second end, after Weagle and Epping stole 1 in the first. Weagle's last without hammer, and this is a beauty. Makes the double tap to sit shot rock. That was the stolen point in the end, and it's 2-zip after a couple of ends. To the third, Epping's last rock of the end, playing without hammer, and he makes the nice tap to sit shot rock. That was the stolen point in the end. 3 straight steals to open the game. It's 3-zip for Weagle and Epping. To the fifth we go, a 3-1 game. Mitchell, her last without hammer. And that is a great brush and a great draw. That helped steal a point in the end, and it is now a 1-point game. 3-2 for Weagle and Epping, going to the 6th. 6th end after a miss by Mitchell on her last. Weagle with hammer. By the guard, makes the hit, and that is 2 points for the Weagle and Epping duo. They go on top 5-2 with just a couple ends to go. To the 7th we go. Mitchell and Smith utilizing the power play. Mitchell, a hit and stick for a couple, and to cut the lead back down to 1. Makes the hit, and the rock stops in time. It is 5-4 for Weagle and Epping, going to the 8th. To the 8th, Epping's last rock of the end. They have hammer, sitting 1. Makes the hit, and despite knocking out one of their own rocks, it opens it up, doesn't allow a freeze opportunity, and just a good shot by Epping. So now Mitchell trying to draw around the guard, needs to be shot stone, but that is light. Weagle and Epping win it as they improve to 3-1 at the tournament. 6-4 is the final.
So earlier today, one of the breaking stories is the health of Darren Moulding. They had to pull out of their game, him and Joanne Courtney, because of back issues. He was having back spasms, so he came to get treatment. You see Jeff Stoughton, who works with the Canadian national team on the right, obviously Brendan Bottcher, who is his skip at men's, and partner Joanne Courtney, and they have decided to pull out of the competition, which is really tough news. And this was the quote from Darren Moulding: "This was not an easy decision because Joanne and I were doing very well together and we felt like we could accomplish something special. But Joanne could have not have been more supportive and understanding. The World Men's Championship is extremely important for Olympic qualifying for Canada, and I'll be working hard and getting all the necessary treatments to make sure my back is healthy in time for our opening game on April 2nd.
Draw 21 at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles defending champs in 2019. Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant facing Brittany Tran and Aaron Sluchinski, both teams 3-1. Second end, after Peterman and Gallant stole 1 in the first. Gallant's second rock a 3 in the end, and oh yeah, this is a beauty. Makes the triple takeout, gets the Peterman-Gallant duo out of some trouble. So now, to the final rock of the end, Tran with hammer. A chance for a couple, and that is great draw weight. That is the pair for the Tran-Sluchinski duo. They lead 2-1. To the third, back come the defending champs. Peterman with hammer, looking at the tap back on their own to knock away the yellow. And how pretty is that? Brilliant shot by Peterman for 1, and it's tied at 2. To the fourth end, great shot making continues. Sluchinski, his final rock of the end, and how good is this? Looking to raise in the red and remove some of the granite, and oh, he makes it. Just a great shot. Tran and Sluchinski now sitting first and second rock. Then after Peterman made a pretty good draw, Tran trying to pick that red away and get multiple points. She picks it away and the red moves far enough for the two. Tran and Sluchinski at the break lead 4-2. To the 7th, tied at 4, Tran with hammer. A chance for 3 after Peterman was heavy on a freeze. Just got to tap that red rock through the hole.
Got to get it to curl over, poke it through the hole to pick up the 3.
Great shot.
Oh, what a shot.
Great shot there. And going to the final end, it's 7-4 for Tran and Sluchinski. Final end, Gallant and Peterman trying to place a good guard, but that leaves some access to the red rocks in the house. And after the next rock, they call a timeout, and the guard was still a hot topic.
Your guard's just not
Guard
in
is
play
not
at
in
all,
play.
even
It's
if
not
we
even.
went
It's
here.
the worst guard humanly possible.
Even if we went here, Brett.
Clearly not pleased, so let's see if it costs them. To Tran's last rock without hammer, trying the double and to put the game away, but that crashes into the Gallant guard and sails through the house, leaves Peterman a draw for 4 points. Just needs to touch the rings, and that is a great scrub by Peterman and Gallant. They get the 4, and the defending champs take it. 8-7, the final. Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles Draw 22. Laura Walker and Kirk Myers at 4-0 in the tournament, facing 2-2 Brienne Mayer and Marc Nichols. First end after Nichols made a great run back on his second of 3 rocks without hammer, his last, and he converts the double takeout. They would go on to force in the end. It is 1-zip, Walker and Myers. Second end, Mayer with hammer, trying to pick that red rock away that is on the button. And how nice is that? Makes it. That is 2 points for Mayer and Nichols, and they go on top, 2-1. Fourth end we go, now tied at 2. Walker's last without hammer. She makes the hit and roll. They are sitting a couple, and that is what they stole in the end after Mayer's draw came in heavy. It is 4-2, Walker and Myers at the break. Sixth end, now 5-2 game. After Walker just missed a double on her last without hammer, Mayer a hit and stick for 2. Just by the guard, makes the hit and sticks around. Mayer and Nichols cut into the lead. It's 5-4. Seventh end, Myers first of 3 rocks in the end, and he makes a great run back. They are now sitting a couple, and that is what they went on to score in the end after Walker made an open hit and stick. The 2018 Mixed Doubles National winners lead 7-4 coming home. Final end, 3 yellows in the rings, Walker's last without hammer, and she makes the double takeout. Just a great shot, and that wins the game. Walker and Myers clinch a playoff spot and are now 5-0. Draw 23, Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles, and a pair of 3-1 teams. Val Sweeting and Mark Kennedy taking on Kristen Karwacki and Derek Semigalski. First end, Karwacki, her last without hammer, and this is a beauty of a draw right to the button. That was the stolen point in the opening end. It's 1-zip for Karwacki and Semigalski. To the fourth end, Sweeting and Kennedy down 2-1. Sweeting has a tap for 3 points. Big brush by Kennedy, and the shot is made. That is a big 3 points. It's 4-2 for Sweeting and Kennedy at the break. Fifth end, Karwacki with hammer, drawing against 3 yellow rocks. Comes in a little bit heavy, and when it stops, it ends up being a steal of a couple. Sweeting and Kennedy go on top 6-2 with 3 ends to go. Sixth end we go. Karwacki back with hammer, trying for a multiple point end, facing 1. Get that yellow granite moving, but that is all over the guard. Ends up being a steal of 1. It is 7-2 for Sweeting and Kennedy, and they go on to take it 7-3 the final and are now 4-1. Draw 27, Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles, Kadriana Sahaidak and Colton Lott. They were the silver medalists in 2018, taking on Melissa Adams and Alex Robichaud. First end, Adams and Robichaud in some trouble. Robichaud's last rock of the end without hammer makes the triple takeout for the New Brunswick rink. Adams would make a double on her last, and they force Sahaidak and Lott. It's 1-zip. Second end, Adams facing 3 with hammer, needing the hit and stick around for 1. By the guard it goes and makes the hit and stick. This one is all tied at 1 after 2 ends. Third end, Sahaidak with hammer, a hit and stick around for 3 points. Through the port, makes the hit, but loses the shooter. They still get the pair, and they go on top, 3-1. To the fifth end, now a 3-2 game. Sahaidak has an opportunity for a couple, needs some of the pin, and that is so good for the couple of points. Sahaidak and Lott go on top, 5-2. Sixth end, Adams has a chance for a couple back while utilizing the power play, facing 1, but that wrecks on the guard. Sahaidak and Lott steal 1, and now it's a 6-2 game with just a couple ends to go. Seventh end, Adams back with hammer, trying the redirect off the own to the button, facing 1. A very, very tough shot through the port, and that is so close, but it ends up being a steal of 1, and Sahaidak and Lott take it 7-2 the final.
Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles Draw 27. Jennifer Jones and Brent Laing facing Kim and Wayne Tuck. Now, they weren't the feature match. They went to the game after the feature, so let's listen in during the Tuck's timeout.
We're just soaking in TV time.
Jones and Laing got a smile out of that as well. TV time, it is. Looking to take full advantage of the TV time, and the Tucks won the mixed doubles nationals in 2014. Extra end here, and Kim looking for the double and score the single. How good's that? And they defeat the previously undefeated Jones and Laing duo. And their TV time, 9-8 the final.
Draw 28 Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Battle for top spot in Pool C, and what a game this was. Nancy Martin and Tyrell Griffith facing Laura Walker and Kirk Myers. First end, Martin and Griffith were in trouble, but after a missed draw to sit 3, Martin, her last without hammer, makes the really nice hit and roll to sit shot rock and buried. They forced in the end, it's 1-0, Walker and Myers. To the second, and how about this beauty shot by Martin with hammer facing a couple, makes the double takeout. They score 2, and Martin and Griffith take the lead. It's 2-1. Now Walker and Myers, they're the only undefeated team remaining in the event. Third end, a chance for a big score. I'm the double for 4, maybe 5, but that is a miss. Does get the shooter to roll in for 2, but it could have been much more. It's 3-2 after 3. Fifth end, all tied at 3. Walker with hammer, trying the quiet tap to score the pair. And how pretty is that? Just a great shot by Walker. And the Walker and Myers combo, who are trying to stay perfect, take the lead, 5-3. Sixth end, Griffith's last rock. Team has hammer, and that is great touch. Taps their own back to sit 2. That is what they scored in the end. And with just 2 ends to go, it's all tied at 5. After Martin and Griffith stole 1 and 7. Eighth end, Myers, last rock. They have hammer already, sitting 1.
What has he got? Kirk Myers. They're down by 1 and 8. Bang, roll it, clip it, up. Wow, what a shot. Just like that. Kirk Myers, and they lie too. Cue up Sports Center. That was brilliant.
Unbelievable shot by Myers, and Greg Smith, who is in the Ram 1v1 rafters after his around-the-horn shot at the Briar, well, he is watching on. So now Martin needs to be at least second shot. With a loss, they are eliminated, and that is all over the guard. Walker and Myers take this one, and they clinch a spot in the round of 8.
Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles qualifying round. Lisa Weagle and John Epping taking on Val Sweeting and Marc Kennedy. Winner advances to the round of 8. First end, Weagle and Epping in some trouble early. Weagle has hammer, facing 2, rubs off the guard, and can't push that yellow far enough. It's a steal of 2, so Sweeting and Kennedy in front early. Fourth end, now tied at 2, Sweeting with hammer, facing 2, slashes the red stone back, and gives up a steal of 1. Good damage control. They trail by 1. In the 6th, Kennedy and Sweeting now up 1 without hammer. Great shot here by Kennedy, makes a pair of red stones disappear to sit 2. That led to a force and a tie game. Let's skip to the 8th, Weagle and Epping down 1. Weagle has hammer, needs full 4-foot or else they're eliminated. And the 3-time Scotties champ with excellent draw weight gets it to sit down in time. We're headed to an extra end. So in the extra, it's Weagle with her last, facing one, and a lot of rocks in play, needs the angle slash, and she makes it. Wipes out that yellow stone. Terrific shot by Weagle to sit two. So now all the pressure on Sweeting, just captured her first Scotties title earlier this year, needs to be shot stone or it's over, and can't get it to curl enough. It's a stolen win for Weagle and Epping. They move on to the round of 8 with a 7-5 win.
Round of 8 at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Kerri Einarson and Brad Gushue taking on Jennifer Jones and Brent Laing. It's win or go home. Opening end and a chance for a huge score for Einarson and Gushue after some misses. Einarson has hammer, a shot for 5.
Yeah. Whoa.
On and off, it's got to be close. Kerri Einarson. Can they score the 5? The bump, the tap, the red goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
What an opening end for Einarson and Gushue, and it's 5-zip. To the second end, Einarson going for the double on her last without hammer, and that is a beauty by the back-to-back Scotties champ. They are putting all types of pressure on the Jones-Laing combo. So now, Jones drawing against 3, and that is a little heavy and goes too far. Einarson and Gushue steal 3 points, and it's 8-0 after 2 ends. To the third, and it just wasn't Jones and Lang's day. Jones facing a couple with hammer, doesn't get the yellows to move enough. It's a steal of 2. Einarson and Gushue move on while Jones and Laing are done. 11-2 is the final.
And you heard that comment from Brett. They've done all they can. A beautiful shot. That final draw, Jocelyn Peterman, to keep their playoff hopes alive. Sahaidak.
For Kadriana, it's not about putting it on that hole. It's about throwing it on the tee line and Colton taking it in.
Line's good.
Gotta go away. Come on, let's go.
Colton on the brush. Kadriana now helping.
Whoa. Yep.
Whoa.
Trying to curl it in, get a piece of the button for the win, and she rolls, and she does it. What a shot, what a draw.
1 yellow? Yep.
Good game, guys.
Yeah, great job.
Really good game.
Unbelievable finish. Kadriana Sahaidak, book your ticket to the Final Four.
Well, we talked so much that this is her specialty. What a wonderful shot.
One more look. You want to talk about a team shot? They scrubbed it in, had a peek. And Kadriana, the Wolf, called him off at the last second, just curls enough, finds the pinhole, shot stone, and a win.
Thank you.
Yep. 1 yellow? Yep.
Good game, guys.
Yeah, great job.
Really good.
Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. The winner of this one goes to the 1 versus 2 page playoff game. The loser to the 3 versus 4 game. Laura Walker, Kirk Myers facing Danielle Schmiemann and John Morris. Second end, Walker and Myers up 1. Walker's last without hammer. Makes a brilliant draw to sit back of the button. It ended up being a steal of 1. It's 2-zip after 2 ends. To the third, Schmiemann and Morris sitting 1. Morris, his last of the end. And this is a great quad raise takeout. They're now sitting 4 and looking for a multiple point end. So let's go to Schmiemann's last. A draw for 3. Needs the 4-foot, and that is great touch by Schmiemann. They score the 3 points, and after 3 ends, it's 3-2, Schmiemann and Morris. Fourth end we go. Walker with hammer facing 3. Needs the hit and stick, and that is nice for the single point. Walker and Myers won the title in 2018. They tie it at 3 apiece. After Walker and Myers stole 1 and 5, Schmiemann with hammer. A chance for multiple points, trying to get rid of the yellow on the button. What a great triple raise by Schmiemann for 3, and they now go on top 6-4 with just a couple ends to go. To the 7th, Morris is second of 3 rocks in the end. They don't have hammer. Eyeing the run back, and he makes it. Removes the yellow rock, just a dandy of a shot. They forced in the end. It's 6-5 Schmiemann and Morris going to the 8th. Final end, after Schmiemann made a nice tick shot, it ended up being Schmiemann just making that yellow rock go away for the win. No problem at all. Schmiemann and Morris will go to the 1 versus 2 page playoff game after they defeat Walker and Myers. It's the 3 versus 4 page playoff at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Kerri Einarson and Brad Gushue facing Laura Walker and Kirk Myers. It's simple. It's win or go home. Opening end, Einarson's last without hammer, facing 1. And what a big brush by Einarson. Gets it by the guard and makes the hit. Just a great scrub. Walker would miss a double, and it was a steal of 1 for Einarson and Gushue. Next end, Walker with hammer, sitting 1. Going way out towards the boards. Needs a nice chunk of the button for a couple.
Kirk Myers trying to carve it in. Final stone. 1 for sure.
All right, Kirk.
It keeps coming. And a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. Can she get it in there for the second shot stone? What an effort. And I think she's got it. Wow.
Just a dandy of a shot for 2, and they lead 2-1. Next end, Walker's last without hammer. And oh, that is a miss by Walker. Doesn't catch any of the red and picks out their own. Einarson made the open draw for 2. Einarson and Gushue back on top. Fourth end, Einarson's last without hammer. And this is so good as Einarson makes the great draw to sit shot rock. Walker would miss on her last, and it is a steal. 4-2 Einarson and Gushue at the break. To the 5th we go. Walker with hammer going with the run back to get multiple points. And that is a great shot from Walker. The 2018 Mixed Doubles National Champs get a couple right back. It's all tied at 4. 6th end, Gushue's last. The team has hammer. Trying to make the Rays take out. Gets through the port. And that is a great shot to sit a couple. They would go on to get 3 in the end as Walker wrecked on the guard on her last, trying to come through the same port. 7th end, Walker and Myers looking for a pair back. Walker with hammer looking for the hit and roll, and that is very nice as it rolls into the 8th foot. It was 2 points. They trail 7-6 going to the 8th. Final end, Einarson with hammer facing a couple. Going for the hit and little roll for 1 and the win.
Yes! Yes!
Has to hit, has to roll. Shot stone, you bet.
The back-to-back Scotties champion makes it. Einarson and Gushue are off to the semifinal. 8-6, the final. Semi-final at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Danielle Schmiemann and John Morris facing Kerri Einarson and Brad Gushue.
You get through the hole, you make
Opening end after Morris made a couple beauties. Schmiemann a chance for a couple. Needs to get through the port and make the hit and stick. And that is a great shot for the couple of points. Schmiemann and Morris open the scoring. Next end, Gushue's last of the end. Team has hammer. Just by the guard, raises the red back and taps the yellow away to sit a couple. That's just a great shot by Gushue. So now, let's go to Einarson with hammer. A draw opportunity for 3. Needs a nice chunk of the 4-foot, and that is money by the back-to-back Scotties champion. They go on top, 3-2. To the 4th end, now tied at 3. Einarson with hammer, trying the in-off for a couple, and that is a lovely shot for the 2 points. Einarson and Gushue at the break lead 5-3. After Einarson and Gushue stole 1 in the 5th, 6th end, while utilizing the power play, Schmiemann has a draw for a couple, and that is perfect for the 2 points. Schmiemann and Morris cut into the lead. It's 6-5. 7th end, after a good double by Gushue, Schmiemann attempting the draw, and that is another great one by Schmiemann. It was a steal of a point for Schmiemann and Morris, and coming home, it's all tied at 6. 8th end, Gushue's first to the end. Team using the power play, and look at this run back. Opens up the house, and the shooter rolls a little bit as well as Einarson and Gushue eye the victory.
Open things up for Kerri Einarson here in 8.
So now to Einarson with hammer. Just needs a big piece of the 8-foot for the single and the win. And Einarson makes no mistake. Einarson and Gushue advance to the final after a 7-6 victory.
Looking for another
Gold medal game at the Home Hardware Canadian Mixed Doubles. Kadriana Sahaidak and Colton Lott, they have won a silver and bronze at the event, taking on Kerri Einarson and Brad Gushue. Opening end, Sahaidak with hammer. A double takeout for 4 points. Gets 1, but the second red jams, and it ends up being a steal of 1 for Einarson and Gushue. A big missed opportunity. It's 1-zip. To the 3rd end, tied at 1. Einarson with hammer facing a couple. Going with the big weight, and how nice is that? Able to spill the yellows away and score the 2 points. Just a brilliant curling shot. It's 3-1, Einarson and Gushue. to the fourth end. Sahaidak with hammer in some trouble. Facing 3, trying to tap their own yellow to limit the damage, but that is a miss as it taps the red and ends up being a steal of 4 points for the Einarson and Gushue combo. It's 7-1 to the fifth end. Gushue's last, team without hammer, eyeing the double, and that is so good from Gushue, as now Einarson and Gushue are sitting 3. So now Sahaidak with hammer, trying the double and get the single. Sahaidak makes it, and the shooter stays right there. It's 7-2 after 5 ends. 6 end we go. Einarson with hammer, facing a couple, going for the double.
Spin it, yellow's moving. And how about 2 more?
Einarson and Gushue get a couple of points, and it's 9-2. Next end, after a miss by Einarson, Sahaidak has an open draw for 4 points, and Sahaidak makes it. And going to the final end, they trail 9-6. 8th end, Gushue's last. They have hammer, a double to put it away.
Yep, go ahead.
Einarson cleaning. 1, 2, bucket. Team Canada, Gushue, Einarson, your champions in Calgary.
Einarson and Gushue win the mixed doubles nationals. Einarson adds his title to the Scottish she won in February inside the Calgary bubble, as it's Einarson and Gushue 9-6, the final.
Great smiles and outstanding champions.